Hey everybody, it's Friday! I'm so excited to the opportunity here we have with our Friday Love and Learn to connect with our friends across the state. And so whether you're at home because you got a foot of snow, true story if you're western part of Nebraska, or if you're showing up in the rain here today, we hope that our conversation can lighten your mood, bring some good vibes, and help you get through this Friday. Because there is amazing work going on by amazing people across the state. And we love taking some time to talk to those folks. Kristen Slechta from ESU 9 being one of them. Michaela Laborde of ESU 3 as well joining us today, along with Diana Steinbrink of ESU 10. So fun group. So excited for us to chat. I would encourage folks, and we're already doing it. Holy, some folks here. Okay. Hey, what's up, Jason Everett? So here's an example of what it looks like for you to comment and how we can bring your comments in. And we really want to encourage you to do that because this is fun to have as a live session and have you join us. So that being said, let's take a quick second. Kristen, Michaela, Diana, will you very briefly explain your roles at your respective ESUs?
Love to. I'm part of the professional learning team at ESU 9 in Hastings, and I wear many, many hats. I have an emphasis with science and CTE, career and tech educators. I'm the project manager of the Perkins Grant. I do all things instruction, curriculum, assessments, all things learning.
Yeah, and Jackie Ediger from your ESU is here as well, saying hello, supporting. Gotta love that. And so Michaela.
Yes. So I have been in my role for 4 years as the Executive Director of Student Services. And what I have the privilege to do is to support staff, grants, projects aimed at improving instruction for students with disabilities from birth all the way to age 21. So I have staff that's out serving in districts. I have a lot of grants that flow through ESU 3. So like the Autism Network grant, Nebraska MTSS, we have a early childhood pyramid. So the list goes on. And those folks are out serving districts and schools in those areas to support implementation and various initiatives. So, and then I would be remiss if I didn't mention, we also, under my department, have a special school for students who have really severe behavior and autism, and provide intervention and level 3 schooling in an attempt to kind of get them back to the districts. But it's a service we provide that I'm really proud of, and we've made a lot of growth in the last few years, just improving Brook Valley School, which is the name of the school. So all sorts of fun stuff, but I'm really happy to be here today. Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah, Michaela's actually just down the hall, so I see her every so often here. We get a chance to chat, and she's obviously super passionate about her work and is doing some really amazing things along with the people involved in those respective initiatives. Jen McNally, heck yeah, love me some Friday Love as well, friend. And hello to Larisha, who's joining in also from ESU 9. And so, Diana, if you would.
Yeah, I'm at ESU 10 in Kearney. This is the end of my 7th year. And my focus is math, science, STEM, our HAL consortium, our student events, and then also some ed tech here at ESU 10.
Awesome. And also a bestie of Kristen's, right? Since we established this guy.
Quite the only person that could make me feel comfortable to try this out for the first time.
Well, we're grateful to have you. And to play off of Michaela's message, I will do this quick share here too. I'm wearing my Autism Awareness shirt. We did not have a show on the 2nd, which was Autism Awareness Day, and so I forgot to wear it last Friday, but definitely want to bring attention to that during this month and all months for that matter. So that being said, it is time for us to get to the love from this week. So each week we share one thing that we respectively loved and learned. And so we'll take a lap around here. And Kristen, if you'll start us off with your love from this past week.
I would love to. And actually, I was going to say, I was going to ask you about your shirt because it looks like something I would love. And I do. That's awesome. I love this opportunity because I feel like this is where Edu Besties can get together, get to know one another, get to know what we do, get to share what we do. It's extremely positive, and positivity is contagious. I love that. My real love for today is having a touchstone, having something that fills your bucket, grounds you in the work that you do. Today of all days, it's perfect. I'm actually sitting in a science lab space at Harvard Public Schools. And I have a strong relationship with the science teacher here. And I basically took over her class for one full class period while she was engaging in a webinar. So it was kind of a trade-off. And we got to design. We used our science and engineering practices. We designed a model. This is a car. These are the materials they were allowed to use. Lifesaver was the wheel or wheels. They could determine how many wheels they wanted because they were the designers. And then we planned our investigation to see on a designated ramp that we all used the distance. And so Friday was just design day, and to be re-immersed in a classroom setting with students, taking attendance, someone's cell phone rang, asking about their cell phone policy, all of those things that we know is occurring on a daily basis. And we support teachers in their practices, in their buildings, in their classrooms. But sometimes you just need that touchstone. You need to go back. You need to get the feeling, the sounds, the questions. I got to step into her shoes, and I absolutely loved doing that today.
Was that from the Teach Engineering, the Mint Mobiles? Do you know where that activity came from?
I do not. She just sent me. You know what? I bet you're correct. We watched a short video clip that just told you what your possible materials could be and what constraints there were. And then time to build and then time to test. And we did it all in one class period, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I just watched that session last night.
Oh, perfect.
Super
Well,
cool.
Kristen, I love what you said about that touch point piece and just like kind of coming back to something that really fills your bucket, because that's basically what I was going to talk about too, is something this week that I loved was an opportunity to get together with some birth to 3 staff. So not everybody knows that Nebraska is one of the few states that is a birth mandate state. And so all schools in Nebraska have to find and then provide services to infants and toddlers with disabilities. And so there are these amazing women, mostly, there's some men out there too, but they provide these awesome services to infants and toddlers. And at ESU3, we have a planning region team that kind of brings together smaller, more rural schools into a group. And then we really work hard on, okay, how are we meeting the needs of these infants with disabilities and their families? And we had a planning meeting this week. And, there's so much business to take care of all the time that carving out a little bit of time to like really imagine and vision what we want to do in the coming year, how we want to do it, what impact we want to make. I just had so much fun, and I love these people. They are usually out and about in the homes of our families who have infants and toddlers with disabilities. So they have a really unique job as an educator, but it's crucial because that early intervention piece is so, so important. But we got together yesterday, and believe it or not, they actually all use evidence-based strategies for infants and toddlers even. So, the whole goal is to kind of get with the family, figure out what their family routines are, help them improve those routines. So if there's a behavior issue, I'm sure you guys have, no familiarity with toddlers having behavior issues, right? Yeah. But they work with the family to like improve their routine, and it's evidence-based because that family then uses that routine every day, and it has a greater impact. We might only be there once a week to coach them, but the results are amazing. So it was just a ton of fun. There was tons of districts represented, and we just sat around and kind of imagined the great things that we have to come. So it was amazing.
Gosh, that common thread of just working with students and being able to see that progress. Just such a love. So there's so many comments coming in here. I'm struggling to even keep up with it. We've got some STEM love, all right, that's out there, and for Diana as well, talking about being STEM nerds. And then Jason followed up with a joke: 9 lifesavers. And
I think Jason's a super.
Uh-oh.
Oh, we got frozen.
Kristen was afraid she would.
Yep, that's what happens when you're at a school sometimes. She'll come back on at some point, I'm sure. And so Brooke, sharing some love there as well, working with kids, Friday perks, absolutely. And Diana, tell us a little bit more about your week.
I actually have two. I have to say one of them because my daughter talked about actually watching this today. So if she does watch, I have to make sure I tease her. She's a senior with Kristen's son, who we were talking about earlier. We have tried, like jokingly, but then actually tried to get the two of them to like even be in the same space together at some point because
love. We're matchmaking right here.
Oh, we are. And really, it might be more about me and Kristen than the kids because we would be like amazing grandparents together. We would have that child like nerded out. Their room would be solar system and they'd have a rock collection. They would be pretty amazing. But my daughter, when she gets something in her head, it's like all out. So she wants a Christmas theme for her graduation. I know it's weird, but it's the most wonderful time of the year is her theme. And so her graduation cards are happy everything, Merry graduation. And I'm sure when people get these in the mail, the little Christmas trees, they're going to wonder what's going on. And so we've had a lot of fun decorating and getting stuff, and all the food is Christmas treats. And it's been a ton of fun. And her and Susan Evans, for those of you are like soul sisters, they are like old souls together. And so it's been really great. My other love, and this goes back a week, and thanks to ESU 9 and everyone who's on here, they let me join Joe Bowler, who is my education crush, like love her. I have a picture with her. I stood for hours to take a picture with her in San Antonio a few years ago. And it's actually my bookmark in her book as I'm reading it. See, there's me and Joe Bowler as I'm reading her book. But she just really is about like the mindset of curiosity, really focused on visualizing math and having mathematical freedom. I had never really heard that language until listening to her. And I've now seen her 5 times in person or once, and then the one time on Zoom. And I just absolutely loved her and her new work with like data talks. And I was just so thankful that ESU 9 brought her in and let other people join. And it was an awesome day.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay.
Hi.
So Diana, I'm thinking about the race that we were doing today. We made it a competition, but it wasn't on speed. It was on distance. And the one thing I so appreciated about Joe Bowler was she was talking about mathematical skill sets, and your skill level should not be based upon solely how fast you can do the processing, but how far you can take that skill in problem solving, which I absolutely loved.
Like fluency does not mean speed. It means to interact flexibly and creatively with numbers. And we have mistaken that for speed over the years. And I love her message.
Super cool. Wow. Gosh, I love listening to all this. I got the chance to attend the Joe Bowler training as well. And it was really, really fun. And I agree with everything that was shared there. Jim McNally, loving early childhood educators and still giving some love. To Michaela, and definitely appreciate the work that's going on there. Talking a little bit more about graduation parties that time of year, right?
We have 4 graduating in our department, in the TNL department. There are 4. So it is crazy. Dallas's son, Denise's son, and Jason's son, and then my daughter are all graduating. And then Kristen's son. Yeah, there's a lot.
Busy time. Better buy your cards now, right? Well, my love for this week, I don't always in this role get an opportunity to interact with classes of kiddos very often. And that's something that really just fills my bucket. And I was grateful that a friend of mine actually who teaches in Ohio, she does it used to be Mystery Skype. They call it Mystery Zoom now, where they try to connect with one educator from each state. And so they were in need of a Nebraska. And so I took a little bit of time and said, hey, okay, would love to be the Nebraska rep for your little project here. And so I jumped into a Zoom with about 15 or 20 little second graders who are all a scurry on there. And they've gotten in the habit of screenshotting the speaker and then making that their background. And so all of a sudden I look and there's like all these I don't know which screen I'm in. It was a little disorienting. And it was kind of funny But I found myself kind of getting back into teacher mode, and I was like, if I'm going to get like control of the room here a little bit to where we're at least like on the same page of focusing, I'm going to have to raise my energy level. I'm going to have to rise to the silliness that will like garner some more attention. And it was so fun when that kind of happened, because then we got really silly. And I gave them their clues. They guessed Nebraska, which was really fun. We celebrated that, and then read a book together that is actually one of my favorites with that my son and I read. The World Needs Who You Were Made to Be. It's a Joanna Gaines, actually. So if people are a fan of that show. It is awesome. I just left going like, this is so great to like just have a bunch of the energy from little kiddos. A lot of the things that Kristen was sharing, right? Just kind of that laughter, that joy, that fun was just tremendous. And I really enjoyed it. And I think before we kind of pivot to the Learn, I do want to bring up, and this is maybe some shameless plugs, but we create the podcast content to share that type of stuff out. We actually did a podcast on Prairie STEM out of Omaha this week that is, I was just floored at the work that they are doing as a nonprofit and the free resources that they have available for all of Nebraska. And so if you have an interest in that topic, they send free kits out, like to the tune of like 16,000 of them or something recently. Like it was pretty legit. So since Diana's heart and efforts are there, and it sounds like Kristen as well, is obviously doing some work with those carts, with those lifesavers. Check that out. Even if you just go to their site, I'll just do a little plug for those folks. So that said, are we ready for the Learn? Let's do it.
Yep.
The Learn from this week, and we're a little out of order from where we started. That's okay. Start us off.
Sure. I almost feel like Chris. I mean, I know it'll just get wonky, but are you sure?
Hold on. Can I do this? Whoa!
What? You just shuffled us like a deck of cards.
Whoa! Now,
that's
okay,
awesome.
we feel better. Michaela's already, and now it's still better.
I was gonna start flapping there, so this is much better. Thank you.
Okay, so do you want me to start since I'm in the back in the correct order?
Yes.
Okay. So I want to talk about the domino effect, and what I mean by that is there's a commercial right now that has Kevin Bacon, and he references the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon and how all of those connections are made. So if you don't know the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, you can look it up. It's just about connections. So I am thinking about domino effect. You set up dominoes and then you push one over, and then that energy gets transferred, and it keeps falling. And I think learning happens like that too. So I'm a big fan of the cult of pedagogy, and that is Jennifer Gonzalez. And she had a guest speaker that she had multiple times on a podcast. I think her name, and I apologize with names. I'm better with faces. Potash, for sure, is her last name. Potash shared 2 strategies, one of them being hexagonal thinking. And you take hexagons, and you could put words or word phrases on multiple hexagons and simply place them in front of someone else and ask them to arrange those hexagons, make connections between these concepts or ideas. And because a hexagon is it has multi sides, then sometimes you're going to put them side to side because there's a strong connection, or it might be an angle to an angle because there is some type of connection. And how you order them, you could make them all linear. It could more look like a honeycomb. It's a way of expressing what you're thinking at that time. So domino effect. I'm listening to this podcast. I'm learning. I want to try this. So at our Empowering Leaders at ESU 9, those are our principals, like our principal cadre. We made some hexagons, and it was all about instructional leadership. So phrases about instructional leadership. And we just put them in front of them, and we asked them to arrange, and then you can gallery walk and you could see each other's thinking. And then your curiosity takes over and you ask questions about someone else's thinking. And so I had a principal who was there who then shared it at her professional development with her staff at Donovan Trumbull. And then a teacher there, I saw pictures of her students doing hexagonal thinking in their classroom. And so then I emailed Jennifer Gonzalez back and told her to share with Potash that this is evidence of impact. Like, that is a true domino effect. And I love that. And then what we're doing right now today, I get to share about this, which means it's going to continue to domino, but not just in a single line, but now I see it as like this multi-layered effect of learning. And so that's what I wanted to share today. Check out the Cult of Pedagogy. The two of my favorites that I've gotten both from Potash and Jennifer Gonzalez is the one pager, which is taking notes, and Hexagonal Thinking.
Wow, that is so great. And I think as you're sharing that too, the ripple happens when we're willing to take the things that we're learning and take the uncomfortable step of actually bringing that to its first implementation, which can be scary or uncomfortable because it's unpredictable, but that's learning, right? And that's where growth happens, and it's awesome. Not like, I love to hear that happened, like you said, to the ripple that was your level and that you implemented it, but then to see that other educators in a time when I fully recognize that we're not really looking to step outside of our, the day-to-day, the standard, the thing, we don't want to get uncomfortable right now. It's been an uncomfortable year enough, but it's encouraging to hear that is still happening, and obviously to a degree that it moved that quickly. That's awesome. What a cool story.
Kristen, I'm going to need to see a visual. I can't quite get it. Like, I'm going to have to see it. You're going to have to send a picture.
My coworkers are often telling me, Kristen, you're very big picture and you've got these great ideas, but you need to dissect them and provide visuals to support them so that they better understand. Just go to Cult of Pedagogy and Hexagonal Thinking, and there are student examples, teacher examples. There was one example, a high school English teacher just handed out plain hexagons cut out, and the students were to fill in on the hexagon the connectors for this novel. So, all of the characters in the novel, the plots, just concepts of the novel, and then piece it together. So there's a lot of examples on her website, and I encourage you to check that out, because it can be in any content, any grade level, to be quite honest.
That's super cool. Or during professional development, as we've heard.
Exactly.
Super cool. Oh, wait, we've got it here. Thank you, Debbie.
Debbie!
There it is, in case you need it. I'm a big Cult of Pedagogy fan as well. Jason, thanks for also repping the ESU pod in that too. That was good, the comment from earlier. Because it's important to share. And if you don't share, that ripple doesn't happen. Right? And so it's great that's taken place. So, Michaela, what'd you learn this week?
Yeah. So I learn a lot every single day, but I was trying to kind of pick something that had an impact on me this week. And Kristen, love hearing about that ripple effect. I think that is really important. And I hope today, after I share what I learned, you guys, it has an impact on those listening and all of you. It's really been, by the way, I love all of you, and it's been really great getting to know you and listen to you a little bit. So yeah, this week, Nebraska Department of Education, Office of Special Education has some work to do. They are taking a look at how we're doing on our report card for students with disabilities here in the state. And I don't know if you're familiar, but each school district gets a report card every year on, how they're doing. And there's these outcomes and targets set for measuring the success we have with kids with disabilities. And I know I talked about our Birth to 3 earlier, but I'm going to go to the other end of the spectrum. And I was on a work group this week really talking about our graduation and dropout rates. And so one of the things we did is we just had gathered a bunch of data about these outcomes. And the thing I learned that, I'm going to be honest, it was a bit of a gut punch, was how many students with disabilities dropped out of high school the last year we had a full year of data. And, I guess I always thought about this, and I've been in schools. I've been now at an ESU for 4 years, so I'm a little removed from this data. But yeah, it was just way more than I thought. So 357 students with disabilities dropped out of high school in the 18-19 school year. So it was one of those things that, and I'm sorry to be such a Debbie Downer, Andrew. That's not what my intention was. Yeah,
awareness.
but right,
Mhm.
just awareness, because learning that number, it was so much more significant than I really
Mhm.
thought. And then to kind of think through the fact that those are individual kiddos, 357 different kiddos that live in our state that aren't going to end up with that high school diploma. So now I wouldn't just drop that out there and then not, give you some hope and some strategies as far as what we want to do. Because the whole idea of this work group is to review these outcomes, think about how we're doing, and then, of course, what are we going to do about it? So one of the requirements that we are continuing to build up in this state is transition and post-secondary transition, specifically for kids with disabilities, because we know we just have some disproportionate data as it compares to general education students. So I want to give a shout out to my assistant director, Allison Kelberlau, because she is kind of the point person here now for secondary transition and is one of the leaders in the state. There's a bunch of leaders, all from ESUs, who are working really hard on this topic. So they are developing guidance, they're developing strategies and resources. They're completely revamping our secondary transition resource guide because we want to get this in the hands of our secondary special education teachers. So they're doing a lot of work. We have some plans to release a new transition plan through our state records system, SRS, that ESU-CC also helps us handle, and some new guidance. So while I was heartbroken and just, learned, that it's just a lot more kids than I would have anticipated in one school year. I'm also excited about the opportunities. This is an area that I think we can really move the needle on. So
It's really important work. And yeah, I'll throw it back up there again. I really appreciate what Debbie had to say. Sometimes you have to really confront, as you said, Michaela, gut punch type of facts to really recognize just how much needs to change. And that's awesome. I love the unified message there too, that everyone is in this together, and that's what our ESUs are doing, whether that's all the way from the tech end, like you mentioned, to the CC, to really boots on the ground, being those change agents across the state at the regional offices. So really awesome to see that, how those intentional efforts, and Allison's sharing that here as well. And kind of on a lighter note, I would say too, Debbie from ESU3 would like to point out that Debbies are not always downers. Which made me smile whenever I saw that one. So
It has to be a hard name when people say that. We're sorry, Debbie.
Yeah.
I love your name. I'm so sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. Diana, what was your learn from this week?
Well, NSTA, the National Science Teachers Association's annual conference, was supposed to be this last week. And so it's virtual, and it's actually 4 weeks long. So this was the first week. It's elementary, and it runs Monday through Saturday for 4 weeks. And so I'm very lucky ESU 10 let me join that, and a lot of it's in the evenings. So I've been watching sessions, and it's been really just amazing. You can watch the sessions, and then they have all of the resources linked in there. And I really, on elementary, focused on literacy and the connection that it should and does have with science instruction. And so I've been watching a lot of those. And the other one I've really focused on is STEM. And that has been amazing. And that's where I thought you got that from the Teach Engineering, because they had a presentation, and we did, like, they had you got the materials and you created MIT mobiles. And they have, it's a K-12 STEM curriculum that people have access to, and they have a YouTube channel of activities you can do. And it ties really well. Jason, myself, and then Sarah Essay here at ESU 10, we have a STEM series. We're actually having STEM Fest in 2 weeks. And all year, kids work on a way to a solution to something in their community that they'd like to improve, based on our global goals for sustainability. And then all year they work towards this, and then they come to ESU 10 and present it at STEM Fest at the end of the year. And so just already planning for next year. And Jessica Williams usually leads it for us, who Great Plains Summit is how I met her. And she usually comes and presents design thinking. We use the launch framework. to do that. But I've really just loved all the different ideas and new ideas to make it kind of fresh and new with engineering design. And then I sent Kristen a bunch of stuff. She probably hates it when I do training because I text her all night. Hey, can you make this for me? No, that's not. I couldn't get it. I did send her one. Said, hey, can we redesign this? And so it's about claims evidence reasoning, and they were so good because it is called claims evidence reasoning for all you scientists. But you should do evidence first. But we always say claims evidence reasoning. You should never make a claim until you have the evidence. And so why do we call it that? But it was a big discussion in the training. But they had some really great resources that me and Kristen are going to try to redesign. And at our summer science retreat, maybe you get them if anyone out there listening that wants to come. I'm going to put my own plug. If Andrew can plug, I will do it. Summer science retreat. Kristen and I want all of you.
Yeah, this format needs to do some of that, right? I mean, we're all together to learn from one another, so why not share about good things that are going on? Sorry, keep going. I didn't mean to.
No, that's exactly it. It's really exciting. And so next week's middle school, which is my heart. I taught middle school, math and science, and then the week after is high school, and then it's pre-service teachers and college groups, and so I'm really excited about that too. So on my site, I have been putting updates every day of all the trainings I've been to. So on my science site, if people want to check it out.
Do you have a link to that?
I do.
If you want to type it in the chat, or you could, verbalize that even for folks so they would be able to.
If I can remember, I use a bit.ly. It's bit.ly, and then ESU10 Science is all capitalized.
There you go. So now we can share resources.
Why can't I do a chat? Oh, maybe I can. I just need to keep going. No. If you're on here, can you not add to the chat?
I have the ability to. That's good. Good.
Can you, Kristen?
On the other side, you could put it in the private chat, and I could probably post it out.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I can do that.
Again, too here.
Okay.
But I will share. Okay, perfect. There it is. And we're going to add that to the comments. And so if you're watching, you can access that here. And hold on one second. We're going to remove this version of Kristen. Get this Kristen back. Move her around.
I'm so sorry. I did want to say, can you hear me okay?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I just want to say, Diana, when you were bringing up, you added to the ripple effect because you're talking about a training that you're doing. And then you're texting me and saying, let's redesign this and share this with our schools. That's awesome. I also appreciate when you mentioned the claim evidence reasoning that you should start with evidence. And Michaela, that's exactly what you were presenting to us. It's strong evidence with which we need to analyze, problem solve, state our claim. How are we going to make sure that this number decreases in the future? And then I'm concerned about the 557. Is that the number?
357, yeah.
I'm sorry, yes, 357. Thank goodness, 357, not 500. Those students currently, how do you problem solve for them currently? But it all starts with evidence and really looking at it, not just with the lens of what are we doing well, but really targeting where do we have potential? And then the reasoning. And I think the reasoning really takes multiple brains in that space, a collaborative group. We are better together. I just appreciate how it's kind of flowed with all four of us. And we all have some similarities in the jobs that we do, but we also have some distinctions too. And yet we can have this kind of conversation, which is amazing.
Kristen, that was a beautiful bow that you just wrapped on.
I really tried to. Well, I keep coming in and out, so I better put a bow
Andrew,
on
do you pay her to just do this for you? Just wrap it all up and bribe her?
But Kristen, right, you're an ideator like myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought we talked about this before. Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm not. That's why I work with Kristen. And Jason. Jason is too.
And so many great people, right? Like across the state, truly, and goes back to equity work. Larisha, I agree. I learned from that as well. So I, in sharing mine, would be remiss not to bring up the SDA training led by Lane and Shirley, and how terrific that was and meaningful, and just great work that we're invested in on across the state with that. I'm going to see if I can kind of do a little ideation here too as well, and say that my job, I think, in part, is to hopefully help further ripples, maybe to play off of what we've already talked about. And this is one avenue to do that. The podcast is another avenue, and just trying to make more spaces for us to collaborate more, to learn from one another, to have some fun and build culture and share good ideas. And I mean, honestly, 14 months ago, I was teaching in a classroom, so I can't really say that I have a ton of marketing background or experience. I just sort of make stuff up and we do it, and it's been really driven by the excellent people we have statewide, and so I just kind of make spaces and get out of the way. And what was great this week was I got a chance to attend StreamYard's conference. I did like a one day, and I really only made about an hour and a half of it, if I'm being honest, because the schedule's a little busy. But it was great for me to be able to learn a little bit more about what's coming up in StreamYard, and to also listen to people who are trying to amplify. In a lot of cases, it was like influencers and their own voices, where with this work, it's more so how can I help further those ripples, Kristen, right? And like make sure there's reverberations happening, and really being intentional about that. And so that was incredibly helpful. And a great learning opportunity that's just outside of what I'm usually a part of, which is, really rich education conversations. So picked up a ton from that. Was really grateful that I got a chance to learn that. So,
Brooke.
This conversation, yeah, we could lead to a lot of really great things.
I'd never write a book, but someone else would write it for me.
There you go. So, well, that's my learn from this week, in addition to the fact that I always learn so much just from listening to all those that come before me here in our conversation, and I'm grateful for everyone's participation today, whether you're online or here in person on the video feed. Just grateful to the work that's being done in our ESU network. And so thanks. We'll look forward to seeing everybody again the same time next week for the Friday Love and Learn. And so Kristen, Michaela, Diana, really appreciate it. And everybody have a great weekend.